How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Gauntlet of Gaming, where these hands are rated E for everyone. My name is Malik.
Francis.
And I'm Santiago.
And today we're here to talk about pretty much our check-in. We are going into August, which means that we're getting a little bit closer to the end of our summer games reveal season. Normally we would call this E3 season, but COVID and E3's issues and whatnot, therefore it no longer exists. So everyone's kind of been having their own showcase of games and updates and things like that have been happening. We've been watching, reacting to a few of them, and it's time for us to kind of just do a check-in, see what's been some good, some bad. So today we're going to be covering some highlights and some disappointments from this season of summer game reveals. But before we get into that, of course, we have to do the normal plug. You know where we are. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. We're probably in your backyard if you look hard enough. We're everywhere. The only place
I'm coming for your milkshakes.
Oh no!
I'm at your window.
Oh no, guys, stop! No. First of all, let them have their milkshakes. Second of all, get away from the window. Glass is dangerous. But yeah, on every platform, we are the Gauntlet of Gaming. The only place you can't find us is on Twitter, because we are the Gauntlet with a 4 instead of an A. I keep giving the spiel. I'm not going to give it again. You know what? I think after I publish the podcast, I'm going to see if I can get that changed. I'm going to see if we can change that. But anyways, we also, don't forget, we have shirts, sweatshirts. We can't really go anywhere, so there's no real reason to rep your stuff. So don't worry about it. It's not like we make profit from it anyways. But anyways, going into today's question of the day, what are some highlights and disappointments that you've kind of come across when it came to this season of, summer game reveals from PlayStation, Microsoft, or I should say Sony, Microsoft, from the PC stuff, maybe even Google Stadia. I don't know who talks about Stadia anymore. But, what are some highlights and what are some disappointments? We're curious to hear. If you're on YouTube, let us know in the comments down below. And if you're listening on Spotify or any other audio-based application, let us know on Instagram. Hit us up. Tell us what you've got. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to go person to person. We're going to let each person talk about both their highlights that they have and their disappointments, and kind of just go into why. Why do you feel that way? This might be a shorter podcast, shorter than we normally do, mostly because it's not like we're talking in depth about everything. It's mostly just a check-in on what have we been liking and what are we not liking. And maybe at the end I'll even ask, what are you still hoping for, since we still do have August. We have time. But yeah, with that being said, no more distractions. Francis, what are your highlights and disappointments from this season of summer game reveals?
Okay, so, well, obviously the first one would be Horizon Forbidden West. Because, of course,
Makes sense.
I don't understand. Tell me why.
Because.
Well, let me ask like this way. For people who don't know you and your relationship with Horizon, why is that such a big deal for you?
Well, okay, starting from the beginning, it was a game I was just curious about, I didn't know what I was getting into. And then I played the game, and I thought it was fun. Giant robot machines that you get to hunt. And it's a beautiful game. It's even talked about as, aesthetically pleasing. And then Ghost of Tsushima came along. And then now, looking at the Ghost of Tsushima photo mode, I'm curious how Forbidden West will compete, I guess. And also, rumor has it that map is 5 times bigger. I think I talked about that before too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's in San Francisco.
And is that the only major highlight that really just jumped out at you this season?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. What about disappointments then? What were some things that you really?
Oh wait.
Oh, what's up?
Oh wait. Well, that was sort of my first highlight.
Oh, you have more. Oh, tell me more, please.
Sort of. Well,
Oh my.
Well, they're really short. So, Spider-Man.
Of course.
Yeah,
Naturally.
it's Spider-Man.
It's
How
just,
can you? How
it's
can you
more what
not
we
be
love.
hyped? And then, oh wait, no, this one sort of goes with disappointments, huh? Sort of. So, Gods and Monsters. I mean, nothing was said, so I don't know. I'm not gonna say. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait it out.
Just be patient with
And
it.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in terms of everything else, though, it's not like I really look forward to it. I
Mhm.
guess. So I just don't think much of it.
Okay. I mean, hopefully it doesn't go the route of Scalebound where we don't hear anything for a while and then out of nowhere you find out it's canceled.
Oh gosh.
I felt bad. I was excited for Scalebound too.
Which, I mean, it's not Gauntlet of Gaming content, but if y'all really want to watch some good content about like how games that get canceled or have really botched releases, you like want to hear the breakdown of it, Matt McMuscles does a really great breakdown of a lot of those games, and he actually did a video on Scalebound, and I actually think you guys should check it out.
Huh.
Yeah, I'll have to.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to plug his channel in our personal chat. But yeah, no, I mean, even to the audience, like if you're ever looking for content about like, because I mean, Matt McMuscles is the king of talking about disappointments when it comes to gaming, and Scalebound was one of them. So yeah, but didn't mean to interrupt you, Francis. What else were you saying?
Oh no, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, that was actually kind of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was that short for me.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's just how it is. This season, I would say, if I had to describe this season of summer, when it comes to game reveals, I would say it's been meh. And so I feel like for people, I mean, unless you're like a big YouTube channel that's trying to like pad out your video, when it comes to talking about the reveals, personally, when you're talking about your personal feelings, I feel like it's going to be pretty short for a lot of people, unless you're really dedicated to talking about every single video game that you saw. But it'd be like that sometimes. All right, so going from Francis, I actually want to go to Santi and ask you what are some highlights and some disappointments that you've personally experienced throughout this season of Summer Game Reveals.
So the first highlight would be Spider-Man Miles Morales, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hype. This my second highlight, which is really personally hype for me, like just completely blew my mind. That got announced 3 days ago by Team Reptile, and it's called Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. So for those of you who don't know, you may or may not have heard of a little game called Jet Set Radio. And specifically, I played Jet Set Radio Future on the original Xbox when I was growing up. And this announcement matters a lot to me because like in like retrospect, I see how much of an influence Jet Set Radio had on me growing up, especially when it comes to like some of my personal aesthetics and like especially my taste in music. Like it's had a huge influence on me. And so I've been really excited. I've been listening to like the Jet Set Radio Future soundtrack a lot recently. I've been binging all those songs. I love it. That game is like, for me, it's a personal classic. And so it's a Sega property, it's a Sega IP, and anything that's not like Sonic and like Persona and Yakuza just gets completely neglected. So Team Reptile, the developers behind Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, was like, fine, we'll do it ourselves. They went all Thanos, and so instead of skates, right, it looks like it's parkour.
Mhm.
It's like almost like a jet pack booster kind of thing on their backs, and then but like just from like the 11-second teaser trailer they dropped, like the music, the visuals, the style, they perfectly captured the spirit and essence of what Jet Set Radio was, and I'm super excited for it. And like it looks so good. They even got the original composer for the music from Jet Set Radio, Hideki Naganuma. I'm unbelievably excited, and I cannot wait for this game to come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like honestly, as soon as because at first I saw like people talking about it, and I thought they were just memeing. Like I was just like, what are people talking about? Oh, if Sega's not gonna make, the remake of Jet Set Radio, then fine, we'll do it ourselves. And I'm like, what are you like? What's with the meme? Like, where did all this Jet Set hype come from out of nowhere? And then I finally watched the video and I was like, oh my god, Santi, oh my god, Santi, oh my god, Santi. Like, I was just like, whoa, this is actually happening.
So I'm so excited. Like it looks so good. Like, oh my gosh, oh, it looks so good. And the music they have in the trailer is just, oh my gosh, it's like spot on.
Now the question
Just
is,
that.
would you say it's a sploosh moment?
It was absolutely like beyond sploosh.
Oh, that's great.
Like, I didn't think I'd ever get anything like this, so I'm just like, I'm tearing up.
Dude, like I said this before, I'll say it again. If Bleach can come back in 2021, anything is possible. That is my saying for 2020 now. If Bleach can if Bleach can come back, anything is possible.
If there's gonna be like an ultimate edition for like a pre-order, you best know I'm getting it.
You're gonna pay all $90 of it.
They can have all my money. Take all my money. Just give me this game.
You have to pay for like specific song DLCs, so that way you can
That's
have certain
fine.
songs in there. Santi's just like, take it.
Oh my gosh! If they license some of the original music from Jet Set Radio and add it as DLC, I will give them all my money.
Could they even do that though, since Sega would own the rights? Like partially own the rights?
As long as they license it, because like one of the reasons of why Sega doesn't want to remake Jet Set Radio is because of the licensing for the music.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that then.
Because like if you listen to any of the Jet Set Radio music, there's like a lot of samples, a lot of stuff that needs to be relicensed and copyrighted, and Sega just doesn't want to do it because as great of a game Jet Set Radio Future is, it has a very small like cult following.
Yeah, and I feel like that was kind of the same deal with Tony Hawk Pro Skate, you know, with the whole Pro Skater franchise, how there was a lot of that licensed music, and, you know, just the question of, do you want to take the risk and potentially not get the return? So, I could see it. It makes sense.
So, like, I get why Sega's not doing it, because, like, that's a lot of money that they probably won't recoup.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited for this. Bomber Cyberpunk, check it out. Team Reptile, you have my money.
So I'm curious.
As for
you're about to get into your disappointments, but I seem to recall a certain hype moment that popped up that made you lose your mind, and I don't know if you remember having this hype moment. Can you think of what I'm talking about?
It was for Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh, there was another one. Do you remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember now. How could I forget this? Odd World.
There you go.
World Soulstorm.
There you
How
go.
could I forget? It's because I haven't seen anything on it. There hasn't been any more info on it.
Yeah,
So
right?
That's one thing. There's another game that was super influential on me that I played. I watched my dad play. Munch's Odyssey. That is a really long game. So there's something else I'm really hyped for. Like, it looks so clean. That's another thing I'm hyped for. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure each of us had like an individual game that blew our minds. And I was just like, I know Santi cannot go through this podcast without mentioning the one game that made him lose his mind.
Yeah, no, I got so caught up in the hype for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Everything else is like, doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I spent so many hours just like, cause like, part of the reason like why one of the many reasons why I love Jet Set Radio Future is like the whole tagging and the graffiti, and they let you make your own graffiti in the game. You could they give you complete freedom to make your own graffiti, which was amazing. Granted, I sucked at it, but the fact that I had creative freedom over what I wanted to tag on the walls around the cities in Japan was amazing.
Yeah,
I put so much time into that game growing up. I love it.
That's great.
Now, as for disappointments,
The areas of opportunity.
I have two. The first one is I'm not necessarily disappointed with the game, but I'm disappointed with what they've shown, and that's Godfall.
Oh yes, thank you. Someone mentioned it, unfortunately.
Because when they showed it, what was it, at the Video Game Awards like a year ago now?
Mm-hmm.
This past Video Game Awards, it looked really cool. It was a slasher looter, and like that's never really been like done spectacularly so far. I would say. I guess Warframe's probably the closest to it, but also Warframe's kind of hard for me to really get back into.
Yeah.
So, but and just like the trailer they had for it, just like the music, it just didn't fit. They didn't show any of the loot. They didn't really show any gameplay, and there just hasn't been much on it. And what they have shown has just been kind of like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of like, give me back my hype.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Now the other one, and this is gonna be a little controversial, so don't pick up your torches and pitchforks quite yet.
Prepares to
Is,
pick up torches and pitchforks.
Is Star Wars Squadrons.
I'm sorry, what?
Whoa!
Excuse me? Wait,
Yeah.
why?
Now, don't get me wrong, it looks really clean,
Uh-huh.
but it's a disappointment for me because it's just not what I wanted from a new Star Wars game.
Yeah.
It feels like EA's not listening to the fan base. Like, it feels like the fan base is like, we want the next KOTOR. Give us another KOTOR. And then it's just like, oh, here's some super limited space fighting
Yeah.
from what they've shown. Like, and it's stuck in first person. Forget about it. I can't do space. I can't do any kind of like flying combat in first person.
Mm-hmm. I'd have to argue against your point though about not listening to the fans, because I think Squadron is exactly what the fans have been asking for. Like Star Wars,
Really?
we know we're Star Wars fans, that Star Wars is a very divided property. There is no one desire from Star Wars. You have people who, like for the movies for instance, just want them to go in the future, and then you have good fans who want to do Old
Wow.
Republic, who want to do some Knights of the Old Republic era films, make that stuff canon. And games, when it comes to Star Wars games, it's the same way. You have people who they're like, screw it, just make the next Battlefront. You have people who are like, screw it, make the next single player experience. And there's a big audience that really wanted a new Squadron game, because I forget if it was something Squadron was the original game, and I know there's a lot of people who are going to kill me for not knowing the name of it off the top of my head. I think, yeah, I'm not even going to try to butcher to figure out what the name was, but yeah, there was a Squadron game for Star Wars, and it was one of the most underrated games. It was one of the most underrated gems that so many video game Star Wars fans talk about. And yeah, dude, that's why, like, when they finally revealed and they showed kind of gameplay, I guess, it's hard to really tell unless they outright, play a demo. But
I felt like some gameplay mixed in with a lot of like cinematic stuff.
yeah, kind of like with the original Avengers trailer, where it felt like cinematic gameplay and not playable gameplay.
Yeah, like there wasn't a UI, there was no like HUD.
And so that's
And it's
the
just
thing.
like,
What's up?
it's like, and for me, it's okay. I guess more not necessarily the fan base, but it's a disappointment for me because I really want another Star Wars RPG.
Yeah.
Be it like another KOTOR or something with like you play as your own kind of Mandalorian, something like that. I think that'd be really cool, and I feel like they're just missing out on an opportunity there.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Especially with how well the Mandalorian series did on Disney Plus.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Yeah, I would say, like, yeah, maybe it's a personal, I mean, everyone has personal feelings. Our entire podcast is about personal feelings. And honestly, I think that I would agree that with the hype of what's been happening with The Mandalorian, they should have done something more like Commandos, but with bounty hunters. Or they should have, I mean, there literally was a Star Wars bounty hunters. Just do another version of that, but better. With an actual The Mandalorian, or with make your own Mandalorian. There's so much potential. I think that's the thing. And I think that's why I kind of also agree with you that it's kind of disappointing, is that Star Wars has so much potential, and the next Star Wars game we're getting limits the potential. Because if you want to play a squads, you could do that in Battlefront. But for someone, there's always, like, I would say categories in Star Wars, right? Like, whether it's the games or the movies, you have the people who are a fan of the religious aspect of the Force, Jedi, Sith, things like that. You have people who don't care about that, and they care more about the clones. You have people who don't care about that, and they care about the bounty hunters. Like, everyone has a category that they care about, and I feel like Star Wars in the video game realm needs to give us something that lets you experience a little bit of what you love in the game. And like a KOTOR remake. I mean, we've been talking about this since before we did the KOTOR playthrough. I feel like that would have been appropriate.
And like, don't get me wrong, it looks really cool and looks really fun, but like a real big deal breaker for me is if there's no third person.
I agree with that as well. Yeah.
Because they didn't show any third person, and anything they showed for it, there was no third person, not once. And like, I can't do space combat in first person.
Agreed.
It's just not it for me, Chief. And so if there's no third person, that's a deal breaker.
And I think we talked about this either during our stream yesterday, or we talked about this another time. But I was talking.
I think it might have been yesterday when you were talking about how more like developers need to be able to switch between first person and third person.
Precisely, yeah. And we were talking about how we're getting into a time now where people, or maybe it was just you and I on the phone. That could have been it too. But we were talking about how we're getting into a realm now where a lot of audience are starting to show that they don't want to be stuck in first person anymore, because now we have technology that allows us to flesh out these characters better, so we don't have to put ourselves in those characters' shoes. We want to see the character we're playing as. And specifically for flight combat, I'm with you there. First person flight combat is jarring. I can't do it. It's impossible.
And like, I also want to see the ship I'm flying, because like, what's the point of having a cool ship if you can't look at it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, heck, we live we live in first-person view as regular people, but that's what mirrors are for. We at least get to look in the mirror. I can't look at my character unless it's a cutscene. Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of that. It's kind of a reason why I'm not too keen on Cyberpunk 2077, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, what else? You got any other major disappointments?
That's it, really. Not like all my like. Of course, I have plenty of disappointments, but for me, they're just not really worth talking about.
Okay. I got you. And I realize, because pre-podcast, we said that we were focusing primarily on games. And I realized that I might have accidentally said that, and that excluded talking about consoles. And I apologize for that. Because I'll bring that. I'm going to talk about consoles during my disappointments. But first, let me get to my highlights. So I think it's amazing, and it's a beautiful thing that all three of us have the same highlight, and that's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Like,
Spider-Man.
It's not even just that it's Spider-Man. It's the fact that this is an example of a developer listening to the fans and knowing exactly what to do. They know that people are falling in love with the newer Miles Morales. I'm not going to say they've fallen in love with Miles Morales in general, because, well, where were y'all at when the comic came out? But the thing is, Miles Morales is becoming a really big character, and not really as Spider-Man, but as Miles Morales. What he has to go through, what he endures, to the point where a lot of people are arguing that the MCU Spider-Man, the Tom Holland Spider-Man, is pretty much just a riff on Miles Morales without being Miles. And the thing for me is, it's just like, I've said this many times, I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. I'm honestly not. But Miles Morales, somehow, I just fell in love with him as a character, from how he looks with his suit, from the powers that he has, and overall just from his interaction with the original Peter Parker, and up until, Peter dies, rest in peace. And it's just like, after playing through the first Spider-Man game and just feeling how emotional it was, especially towards the end, I was
I didn't even like. I don't know if you. I think did you play Spider-Man, Francis?
Yep.
Like, I haven't played it, and just watching Malik stream it, I was like, I'm too invested in this, Link. You better not start without me.
Yeah,
like I got super invested just from watching you play it, and and to be able to play as Miles Morales, like,
right. And the thing is, like, with playing as Miles Morales, there's a lot of questions now, because when you played as Peter Parker in 2018 Spider-Man, you had all these costumes and stuff like that were a callback and legacy of the character. And one of the things I told myself was, if they don't have a Miles Morales suit, they need to make a game. And then they did. But the first thing that came to my head was, so are they going to be able to do the same thing with the suits and callbacks? Because Miles Morales doesn't really have that many suits to pull from, honestly. So
He doesn't. I think what they could do instead is pull suits and just make him look like wear suits from like the Spider-Verse, because like
Mhm.
how cool would it be to have like the Night Spider outfit?
Yeah, and so I'm interested to see, different ideas of how they play with that and whatnot. But it's super exciting. I'm super excited for the game. I wasn't expecting to fall in love with 2018's Spider-Man is the way that I did. Like, it was, aside from Assassin's Creed 2, the first game I've platinumed in a long time. Like, I actually went out of my way to platinum it. And I think technically it's the first game I've platinumed with Gamer Paradox as my account. So it's like, that shows you something. Like, that tells you a lot. I didn't platinum it because it's a Marvel game. I platinumed it because it was a really great game. So
It's especially Peter's relationship with Otto Octavius. Like,
Almost
even though everybody know like he's gonna be Doc Ock, seeing how he got to that point and how he just like spiraled was like heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I think for me, what makes it such a highlight is the way that they established the relationship with characters in that game was phenomenal. And I'm curious to see how they carry it over into Miles Morales, because my theory came true. I mean, it's not really a theory, as it is more just pulling from source material, but the theory of what happens to Harry and what's happening to Norman and all these other things of what's gonna potentially happen in the second game, it's setting me up to question, what's gonna happen. It may be exactly what I think is gonna happen, but is it gonna... Francis and I talked about this actually when we were playing Monster Hunter before you and John hopped in, and it was the idea of what makes me personally sad when I play a game. And I said that for me, what personally makes me sad is when I predict that something bad is gonna happen and I have to watch it actually happen. So I'm curious if Spider-Man Miles Morales is going to get me all emotional, but we'll just have to wait and see, because that comes out this year, right? It's supposed to come out holiday this year.
It's supposed to come out in December. It's a launch title.
So I'm like, okay, I'm not ready to celebrate Christmas with tears.
Man, especially if they like kill off Peter. Oh no!
They're gonna have to.
Be okay.
They're gonna
I'm
have
not
to.
gonna be okay.
I'm calling it here. You're hearing it here first. My prediction is that Harry is going to become the Venom and kill Peter. And then Harry's going to have this emotional breakdown. And Miles is going to see it from a distance. And Miles is going to have to deal with killing Peter's friend, who also ended up being his killer.
Or they bring in Aaron Davis as the Prowler.
That would be good.
And Miles has to watch the Prowler kill Peter.
That would be interesting too. Dude, there's so much potential for this game.
I feel like that would be more emotional on a personal level for Miles.
Yeah.
Watching his uncle kill his like best friend and mentor.
Exactly. The person who he went to after his father died, killing the person he went to after his father died. Yeah, it'd be very interesting. But we could talk about Spider-Man literally all day. We could have an entire podcast just talking about Spider-Man in Marvel video games. But I actually have two other highlights. One of them kind of just being, it's a highlight, but it's not like I'm going to talk too much about it, and that's Watch Dogs Legion, doesn't matter. It's a game that I was hyped for ever since they first showcased what the concept for it was, and
is it like in a Watch Dogs like MMO kind of thing? Is that what they're going for?
No, it's still single player. So you know how one of the favorite things I love from Assassin's Creed was how in Brotherhood you can recruit assassins and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in this game, you can recruit hackers to join your crew. They get to join the hacker team. And the thing about it is, it could be any NPC in the world, they say. I'm curious to see how this works. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this works. But they say that it can be any NPC in the world. And they showed off gameplay that, like, each NPC... And, I mean... You can recruit any NPC, but I'm positive that every one of them has kind of like a job class assigned to them. So like, say there's 10, maybe that's too much. Maybe there's 8 classes, right? Of what type of citizen you are. Then you can recruit them and they do certain things based around that type. So it's interesting. They haven't really fleshed that out as much, but I'm curious to just experiment with it myself. But yeah, it was amazing. Like, they showed you could have, like, of course, the old lady. Everyone calls out how you can recruit an old lady to be a hacker. You have
That's
the young,
hilarious.
you got the young street punk. You could have a barista. Even the bad guys in the game, you can recruit like people from the enemy side of the team to be on your squad, to be a part of your team. And they get like special infiltration tools and things like that. It's amazing the amount of freedom they have for you to recruit people. And I love that. One of my favorite things in video games, aside from character creation, is being able to recruit a squad and play differently based off of the squad that you have. It's what made me love Brotherhood so much, was being able to play with a team that I could walk in the city and just call on them and do stuff. So yeah, Watch Dogs Legions I'm really hyped for. I really liked Watch Dogs 2. I wasn't as hooked by Watch Dogs 1, but I really
Do I
liked
need to
2.
play Watch Dogs 1 to play Watch Dogs 2, or can I just play Watch Dogs?
You could just play Watch Dogs 2. You really just play Watch Dogs 1 to get context for a lot of things. But Watch Dogs 2 is perfectly fine by itself, honestly. In fact, you'll probably have more fun with 2 if you don't play 1, because there's a tonal shift between the first game and the second game. I feel like the tone of...
even looking comparing the trailers for Watch Dogs 1 and Watch Dogs 2, I was like, whoa, this feels way different. Suddenly you're like a man out for like revenge, basically, to like some hipster doing this for the lulz.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like they realize that that's the vibe they need to carry. Because for everyone, it was like, okay, so this is basically just hacker Assassin's Creed. Like, it was too serious, I think. And they realized that having fun with hacking is what people enjoy about playing the game. So Watch Dogs Legion carries that same kind of, tongue-in-cheek kind of fun. And I really like that. I really like being able to come to a game that has a lot of, like, awkward humor and stuff like that, and doesn't necessarily have to always be super serious. They can have serious moments, but, we already live in a serious enough world. I don't want to keep playing super serious enough games. Except for Ghost of Tsushima. That's my one exception. But yeah, so I'm super hyped for it. Super excited. And the most recent thing that got into my hype train, and I'll try not to talk too much about it because I don't want to make this an hour-long podcast of me just ranting about how much I'm loving this. And that's Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Oh my god. Oh my god. They managed to basically pull a Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, with Phantasy Star Online 2. And if you're listening and you don't know what PSO2 is, or Phantasy Star Online 2, basically, anime the MMO. That's all I can say. It's anime the MMO. And
you can have a mecha waifu.
Yeah, dude, literally it is the one... First of all, did you say waifu? All right, no, don't worry. I'm not gonna enter waifu destroyer mode today. Not today.
I made a dark elf waifu, so.
Oh gosh. But something's not wrong. Like, I made a mecha female character, and normally I don't play. Like, I play mecha characters, but the mecha male characters, they're called cast. So the cast male just felt too Evangelion for me. It felt way too generic mecha.
The cast males feel like generic Gundam.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like a cross of Gundam, potentially Evangelion. And it was like, I'm not here for that. But then you look at the females and they're actually like humanoid mechs. And I was just like, that's what I play for. That's the anime I remember. So yeah, it actually made me play out of my comfort zone when it comes to playing as characters. But that aside, the fact that it's nice to be able to play a game that has that anime aesthetic it doesn't feel so, fan servicey like most anime games that people play. It felt like it was still able to carry a serious tone, and the gameplay was just a lot of fun. The special abilities are a lot of fun. The fact that, unlike something like Final Fantasy XIV, you can start off the game with a starter class in the tutorial, and then immediately it opens you up to play whatever class you want to experiment with. Have fun. Good luck. Don't die. Suck less. Like, it's just so much fun. And I just, oh gosh, I don't want to rant too much, but the fact that they made it look so good. New Genesis looks so good. It looks good. It still carries that same upbeat Phantasy Star Online music, and the character creation. Holy crap! The amount of additional
Did
stuff
they revamp it?
Revamp I think is too small of a word for how much
Really?
they've increased the quality of the character creation. Because Phantasy Star Online 2 is a pretty old game. Like, I want to say it's been 8 was it 8 years since it came out? Yeah, I want to say it's been 8 years. So we're playing an 8-year-old game in 2020. And yeah, yeah, dude, holy crap. The way that they fixed the character creation, and not only that, the fact that they're not getting rid of the old Phantasy Star Online 2. The thing about it is they're working with conjunction with one another. Your character can be played on PSO2 and New Genesis, back and forth. You can just carry it back and forth. Of course, things like level and money and things like that, like certain things don't cross over, but your character's abilities, their looks and stuff like that progress back and forth. And it's just, yeah, dude, PSO2 New Genesis, it's basically Monster Hunter World, but for Phantasy Star Online. And I'm all about that. I'm so hyped. So hyped, especially because the fact that Final Fantasy 14 it's an amazing MMO. It's fantastic. It's my favorite MMO of all time, but I can't do subscriptions. And we said this many times on our podcast. The subscription service
I say this every time. The fact that you have to pay full price for the base game and then the DLC and then an additional $60 a month. Yeah, I don't got that kind of money.
It don't work for me, Chief. I can't do it. I financially just can't do it. So for PSO2 to be free to play, dude, yes. And I know, like, I recently just said that I can't play endless games. I have to play a game that, you know, has an end. And for a lot of MMOs, they do. You know, they have a story end, and then there's, like, end game content that you can do. But for me, it's like, for PSO2, I think is what Warframe was to me. It's that free-to-play open game that allows me to just play around, upgrade my character, and see as my character gets stronger and progress further. And honestly, I feel like Warframe could still be that game for me, but I need to see something spectacular come from Digital Extremes. But I ain't here to talk about that. So yeah, those are my highlights. Those are the things that got me hyped. As for my disappointments, they're kind of quicker because they're more to the point and everyone pretty much understands these. Because what I'm about to say, one of them already has been said, and the other one, like, people pretty much agree and understand. So the first thing I'm gonna just get out the way, because Santi, you brought it up, and that's Godfall. Yeah, dude, Godfall was one of the biggest disappointments for me. And to disappoint is for me to anticipate something great and to get something that's not great. So at first I was like, do I want to put Bugsnax on my disappointment list? But then I was like, no, because it's not something I was anticipating. It doesn't matter to me. But Godfall mattered to me. In fact, I was so ready.
It was such trash.
And you know what the thing is? It wasn't how it looked. It was all about how it sounded. It was just how it sounded. It sounded like, I mean, granted, yeah, we just talked about how I'm glad to have games that have goofiness to it, but Godfall doesn't look like the game that's going to be goofy. It looks like the game that's going to be serious. And I was like, I'm hyped. And then Looter Slasher, I'm even more hyped. I love blades. Everyone knows I prefer swords over guns any day. So I'm like, yeah, everything is here for. And then the armors, yep, okay, you have all the ingredients for the ultimate hype train. And then the trailer came out during the Sony event, and I was just like, what is this? What am I watching?
I saw the trailer and I was like, why is it sound? It sounds like a Borderlands trailer is what it sounded like.
Exactly.
And then it looked like a serious game, and I was like, the disconnect.
Yeah, it was very disconnected. I don't understand what the heck happened. And even then, it was like, from what they showed, there wasn't visually a lot there.
Didn't show any loot. Didn't really show any gameplay. Like, they showed characters like doing combos. But I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, the big thing for me was also, what am I getting myself into? Like, is there a story? Is it just a free, open exploration type deal? Like, Are we climbing a tower like it's Sword Art Online? Like, I don't even know what the heck I'm supposed to do in this game, and you want me to buy a console to play? No, I can't.
Like, you're supposed to set expectations, and you didn't set anything. It just confused me.
Exactly. It confused me more than New Genesis being called PSO2. Like, I'm confused from that, but Godfall made me even more confused. In fact, Godfall's trailer actually pushed me away from getting a PS5 because I was like, okay, you were the chosen one. You were the whole reason why I was, because I have no problem dropping hundreds of dollars for a console for just one game. I did it for Killer Instinct.
KI.
Yeah, I did it for Killer Instinct. I don't mind doing that for Godfall. And yeah, no. I have rethought my purchasing plan for this holiday season.
Gearbox needs to do something about their marketing and PR team. Because
yeah,
they're not doing good.
They're not doing well at all. But yeah, so that was Godfall. We already talked about it, but I just wanted to make sure I got my heat out there because, oh god, I hated that so much. The next thing that disappointed me was the Ubisoft Forward event, which was basically like their direct.
What did they showcase? Because I didn't even realize they did a thing.
So, I mean, this was the event where they showed off stuff for Watch Dogs Legion, and I was like, okay, all right, this is hype. You know, the Watch Dogs Legion stuff was hype for me, but they talked about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they were like, quote unquote, showing gameplay, but it wasn't gameplay. And I was just like, okay. What else did they talk about? They talked about, what is the Hyperscape? Was the new Battle Royale. And I'm like, okay, Battlescape is cool and all. The thing about the Forward that was disappointing isn't what they showed, it's the fact that there was nothing more. Like, I think I talked in the group chat and I said that, because I think you asked, you were like, did we miss anything? And I was like, it was basically the big three Ubisoft games that we were all expecting. Assassin's Creed, Hyperscape, Watch Dogs Legion, and what's it called? No, it wasn't Ubisoft who showed this off. Yeah, so it's like,
So they didn't showcase anything else or even like tease anything.
oh god, who? No, that's not true. Far Cry, right? Far Cry is Ubisoft, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's when they showed off Far Cry 6. And actually, yeah, that is exactly when they showed. Man, I'm not a Far Cry fan, obviously. That's why I don't remember it. But that's when they ended the show with the Far Cry 6 cinematic trailer. But again, I was like, okay, cool, cinematic trailer, that's awesome. I watch those when I play video games. You know what I don't normally watch when I play a game? The actual gameplay that's happening, because I'm experiencing it. Show me what I'm going to experience and not what I'm going to be watching. Like, I just can't. If I had to describe this season of Summer Game Reveals, it's telling, not showing. It's the opposite of show, don't tell. They're telling us what the game is and not showing us what we're going to be doing. And I've really been disappointed by that. The next thing, super easy, super simple, straight to the point. We still don't know how much these new consoles are going to cost, and we don't know when they're coming out. And that's the thing that's disappointing me.
Well, I mean, we know they're coming out this holiday season.
We think we know that they're coming out this holiday season, based off of games, but we don't know. They could push it back. Delays are a thing.
Could. That's true.
But the thing for me,
I know we're going to August and we still don't have any info on prices.
Yeah,
That's trifling.
and I'm like, August is the beginning of a hyper workflow. This is where a lot of people are gonna start working a lot more, and
like, people need to save up.
exactly. I would like to know how much I'm setting aside for this game console, so that way I can put it in my nice little piggy bank. But if I don't know how much your console is gonna cost, I'm not gonna guess. You know, I'm not gonna guess. Oh, maybe it's $500, only to find out it's $600. I'm gonna be like, screw it. I'm just gonna buy a bunch of games for the Switch. So yeah, the fact that we don't have a time frame, like, they could have just said holiday 2020. Cool. All right, that works. Don't give me a month. I just want a time frame, but nothing. So that was disappointing. But I think above all of the things that I have talked about today that have been disappointing, the number one thing, the thing that has made me disappointed this entire summer of looking for games that are going to make me give them money is, dude, where the heck are fighting games at? Like,
There haven't been any fighting game showcased whatsoever.
not even teasers. Like, fighting games, I think, are the only exception I will have to the tell but don't show rule, where they show me cinematics, but they don't tell me, like, they don't show me what gameplay looks like. Dude, like, with all the debacle that happened with E3, not E3, with EVO, and we said we're not going to talk about that, but with all the stuff that happened with EVO, the thing is, irregardless, this is the time where developers drop their game trailers for fighting games, whether it's new characters, updates, sequels, what have it, ports, anything fighting game related. EVO is the stage that we look for it for. This, which means that we're at the end of July, we're going into August. So even though we
haven't even gotten a character trailer for the new fighter in Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on that. Like, it's, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. Because we've known forever that we were going to get Master Ultra Instinct. And I'm like, that's cool. And when the trailer came out for MUI Goku, I was like, awesome. You know what they should do? They should tease the next character to come after him. Nothing. And the same problem happened with Min Min, where it's like, hey, Min Min's coming to Smash. That's awesome. Who's the next character that we need to anticipate? Nothing. They'd rather wait and surprise us the day of. And I'm like, I can't do this. Or like the week before. They'll wait the week before something happens and says, hey, here's this new character that's coming. And I'm like, really? Seriously, what happened to hype? Like, telling me, even if Dragon Ball FighterZ said, hey, Master Roshi is coming to Dragon Ball FighterZ next week.
Be so hype.
It'd be hype. But the thing for me is, it's like, you're giving me a week, though, to have to prepare time to play as a character that I may have been. But then again, it could be Ribrianne. And then it's just like, great.
That'd be so disappointing.
Right?
So let down.
And that's my problem with it, is the fact that you're putting me in this, well, they used to. They put me in a place where it's like, I had to question, should I be hyped or should I not be hyped? Like, wondering what's going to happen is not hype. Speculating based off of what we've seen is hype. And that's the problem I think we have going on with the fighting community right now. Like, I'm just irritated, honestly. I just want to hear something. Anything. It doesn't even have to be Marvel. I just want to see something come out for a fighting game. Jesus, Arc System Works. Show us the samurai dude that you premiered for Guilty Gear Strive. I just want to see my boy. Like, yeah. If there's the biggest disappointment for me, it's the fact that we've almost gone this entire summer and I've seen nothing fighting game related. Now, granted, we have about, 5 or 6 days? So we have about a week of July left. And then we're in August. And EVO is technically around this time frame. Like, I think EVO happens, or was like originally supposed to happen next weekend. So I'm like holding out, kind of like with Francis with Gods and Monsters. I'm kind of being patient as much as I can. But like, I don't know how much patience I have if we go into August and I still don't hear anything. Like, heck, Power Rangers told us exactly who the characters we're getting for this new Fighter Pass was. And even though they haven't given you the name of the final character, if you're a Power Rangers fan, you know who it is. You know it's Scorpina. So you're fine. We're good. But, yeah. Other games? Nah. Nothing. So, I'm very disappointed at that aspect. But, you know what? That's okay. Because I have Ghost of Tsushima. I'm about to platinum it next week. It's going to make me feel really happy. And then I'm probably going to question what the heck I'm going to do with my life. And most likely, I'll just go back and play some Phantasy Star Online too. But that's my plan. In fact, you know what? Before we go, I actually want to ask this question. And we asked this question at the very beginning of the summer gaming season of reveals and whatnot. And that's your hope. And after everything we've seen, I kind of want to just quick fire. What's a game that you're hoping to see either get talked about or get revealed relatively soon? Francis, do you have any idea of something?
If they could bring up Gods and Monsters again, that'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, not really.
Okay. What about you, Santi?
I really just want more info on Godfall, really, because I want my hype back.
Yeah.
And then this is a complete left field if they do anything with this, but the Star Ocean franchise.
Mm-hmm.
That the last one was Integrity and Faithlessness, and that one was kind of It was fun, but it wasn't amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'd like to see them do something with that, but I don't know if they will.
Got you. Yeah, I think for me it's pretty obvious what I want. I just want to see something fighting game related within hopefully the next week or two. Even if it's a fighting game I'm not going to play. With everything that's happening with the fighting game community right now, I just want to see something that can unite us, not divide us. That's all I want. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But anyways, that has been our highlights and disappointments and a little bit of our hopes for everything that's happening. Summer season game reveals. I would say that it's a very mediocre season. Nothing to for a reveal season, I should say, for a console reveal season. It's been very disappointing, actually. If it was just a regular summer, then it's like, okay, yeah, this might be just normal. But this is the summer of a new console generation, and you've got people straight up just saying, I don't even think I want the next generation. Like, I think that's disappointing. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. So far, it's just like there's something really that's like like as much as I want to play like the new Oddworld game, like not enough to get a whole new console for it.
Yeah.
And then like Bomber Cyberpunk is coming to the current gen consoles, so
And well, also, it's like none of the games they've shown are really selling
Yeah.
it to us. Like, even when they mentioned all the specs and stuff, but we're not gonna get into that. But
Yeah, like
Okay.
even Cyberpunk, which everyone keeps talking about how hyped they are for it, but I'm like, everyone talks about how hyped they are for Cyberpunk, but at the same time, it doesn't look like there's momentum with it. Like it feels like it's just one of those things where they're like, yeah, I'm excited for it, and that's about it. Like
that's exactly my attitude for it.
Yeah, it's like I was hoping we would have more of like my reaction with FF7 Remake and Ghost of Tsushima, where it's like, dang it, what? They coming out with a game? Yo, this is a game changer. Like, I was hoping we would see more games like that, but
like what feels kind of weird for me is that I'm not like super huge into like the Cyberpunk community. Like, I'm excited for it,
yeah,
and just but from what I've seen, what I can tell, people aren't excited for Cyberpunk because it's Cyberpunk. It's because it's the same developers that did Witcher.
yeah, it's the
I'm
CD
blanking on their
Projekt
name right now.
CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, they're excited. Oh, it's new CD Projekt Red game instead of it like, oh, Cyberpunk.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like with Assassin's Creed, where it's just like, oh, it's just another Ubisoft game versus, oh, it's Assassin's Creed. Or for Assassin's Creed, it's more like, oh, it's Vikings and not, oh, it's Assassin's Creed. Like, that's what I feel like. Yeah. Whereas like with Ghost of Tsushima, people were like, wait, hold up, this is Sucker Punch and it's Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, snap. Like, there's just, yeah, I
mean, we can't have all Ghost of Tsushima level of reveal for games.
Well, I'm saying for individuals in their franchises that they love, that are like mainstays.
That's true.
Yeah, like to give an analogy, this season of summer game reveals has pretty much been us hopping on the hype train, putting fuel into the engine, but never actually leaving the station. I think that's the issue. Like,
now you want about a hype reveal that Ghost of Tsushima reveal last year.
Exactly. Yeah, like last year was the hype train chugging. It was chugging away. But yeah, no, the thing is, it could be COVID. COVID could have that major effect on the gaming industry, and it could be a reason why.
Well, it certainly has, but in terms of like games getting delayed and like stuff like that, but like that's not really an excuse for the kind of trailers they've been putting out.
Yeah, or even for the game, the style of the game that you're developing and giving us. So that's just a choice. That's their choice, and it's a poor one. But hey, what do we know? It's not like we develop video games or anything. We just play them. It's not like we're fans that will actually shell out money for the things that we really love. But it's whatever. We're just a bunch of gamers. Bunch of casual gamers, or as Francis put it, disgusting filthy, putrid casual gamers. I'm still hurt by that. I just want you to know.
Step aside, Phil.
I just want you to know that when I saw that on stream, I'm still hurt from that. That still scarred me. Putrid. Oh my god. Oh man. But anyways, this has been the Gauntlet of Gaming. These hands are ready to eat for everyone. My name is Malik.
I'm Francis.
And I'm Santiago.
And remember that no matter what happens in the gaming industry, we all still have that one game that we love so much. And if you're feeling like there's nothing good out there, go find the game that you love, go play it again. And if you'll excuse me, I'm probably going to go play some Ghost of Tsushima before we play Monster Hunter World. But until then, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.